On your website, if you happen to be a high-level administrator, you'll likely have access to the members area of the dashboard, which is located under the dashboard panel and then on this members page here. So when I click through to that, on my site I have an account system which currently lists 2 user accounts, which happen to just be an admin and then something slightly less than that called an editor, who can make changes and have their changes be approved by an admin like this one. If you happen to be on a sort of staff site or some sort of extranet or account-based system, then in addition to any editors and admin accounts in this list, you'll also see regular user accounts as well for non-admin users if your platform has that sort of system going on. So in my case, I'm logged in as this account. So what I'll do is, as an admin, just click onto this test global editor account we have as a second user and see what that panel looks like. So we can see at a glance that from an admin's point of view, this is a summary screen of this other person's account. And we can see a few things like options to deactivate their account, not delete it, just turn it off, and then it can always be turned back on later if needed. We can sign in as that user, something only really the full admins can do as an emergency precaution if necessary. We can reset their password for them if needed, although it's really expected that users would use the reset password on the login form if they need to. And we have a delete option to delete this person's account outright if we, as an admin, need to for any reason. Then we can see details like the account's username, email address, and if, depending on the platform, you may have a need for profile pictures, which is something on those kind of sites users can do, but you can always manage those on the user's behalf as well. Then we can see some sort of meta information about the user's account, the date and time their account was made, the last time they logged in and what IP address they did so, how many logins they've had over the course of their account's lifetime, and so on and so forth. The next point of interest here would be what are called user groups. So you'll likely have at least a couple of user groups built into your site, if not more bespoke ones further still. So for example, this user doesn't seem to be in any groups at the moment, so they're just a regular user account with no sort of editing rights. But if we change that and look at the groups assigned, we see we have a bunch of different groups assigned for different things. You'll at bare minimum likely have on your site the groups administrators and editors global, or something named similar. What these do at their most basic is people in the group administrators can make edits anywhere in the site and approve their own changes, whereas the members of the editors global group can likewise edit content anywhere on the site, but all of their changes will have to go through the administrators as the last step. So they will likewise have the ability to see a blue button when they're editing pages, but for them it won't say publish changes, it will say submit for approval or submit to workflow or something along those lines. So in my case, let's say I want to add this user to the editors group so that as the admin above them, I can be alerted when they try and change pages, and I can review those and take those requests in as necessary. And now we can see the user group has been assigned to this person, so they're in that group now. And then we have a space for any more bespoke things. In my context, I've just got these sort of basic unused attributes, but on your system, especially if you happen to be using an extranet platform or some similar kind of website setup, you may have more bespoke things here, like the person's first and surname for account stuff, as well as any sort of additional things like categorizing what kind of groups these people might be in beyond these groups. For admin stuff, you might have things like an extranet where you have members who are signed up and are set up to appear in a staff directory, which can have filters about departments and so on. You may have attributes for that kind of stuff. Again, it's just based on whatever kind of system you may have going on. But in principle, that's the user account, just at its most basic function. It is a directory where all the user accounts are detailed, and if you're a full-blown admin, you can browse into those accounts and bare minimum just have a browse and see how accounts are set up. Or further still, you can make administrative decisions and actions such as disabling, deleting accounts, or changing their details in some form or another.